stand stable. I feel able to turn the tables. I could do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like sort of.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000, it still sucks. This is Philip J. Price, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Nobody's with me this time, just myself. I know that Haim is going to be in the live chat here a little bit later. There was an arrest last night, and yes, I was at the Preciado residence a little bit earlier today. I took some film and footage that I'll be showing you guys here momentarily. I'm just trying to get my StreamYard to work right. If you guys can hear me, please give that thumbs up. Let me know in the live chat if I sound okay. Let's see. 1 second. All right. Justice for the victims, 100%. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, so the triple murder of Matthew Guerra, Savanah Soto, and Fabian, the unborn child. There was arrest late last night of Christopher Preciado. He's been charged with capital murder. He's the guy that has been accused of taking the lives of all three victims. And this is his father, Ramon Preciado. He is a guy that is accused of tampering with the bodies. Now, a couple of things that I noticed last night and that I was talking to you guys about is his charge was a little bit weird to me. They only charged him with, abuse of a corpse, which is a Class A misdemeanor. Somebody that doesn't have very much, a very big criminal history on a Class A misdemeanor, you're probably looking at, probation or something like that. And then, I went back and I listened to what was going on and what he was saying, as he was entering into the police unit. And he said something about, not knowing both sides and this, that, and a third, about, there's another side to the story. And what that told me is, this guy probably talked a little bit about something. You don't go from something where you can get charged with tampering with evidence, which is a felony, which is something they could have easily have gone with on this guy. You also don't let I'm assuming, this is my assumption, my speculation, whoever was in that truck, possibly his wife or another family member, go without charges or without some sort of cooperation, in my opinion. So what they cooperate with, I don't know. But it got him to go down from a couple of felonies and maybe even one against somebody else in that truck to a Class A misdemeanor. Just something that I noticed and I pointed out. He may have, just basically talked everything about his son and just dimed his boy out. But he said the words, there's more to this story. So we'll see what that is. His son, Christopher, who's 19 years old, long-haired guy here. He didn't say anything when he was walking out. Know what I mean? But he stayed very quiet. Give me a sec, guys. My StreamYard is always acting up on me. All right, so let's go back. This is where Savanah Soto's apartment was. And this is where the car was found. All right. Oh boy, Preciado lives right here. As you can see, it's a very short distance. While I was out there, when I went out there and I walked that area, walked that apartment complex, I told you guys, I feel like this person lives in this area. He has been to this area. He knows this area very well. This is a very hidden spot for somebody to just find, right? Driving through there. In fact, I actually have video of his house. When I did the drive-through, I drove right in front of his home to get to this address, right? So there's a few question marks that I'm going to try to answer, and hopefully maybe you guys can help. So if if the meetup was, a drug deal, right? And Savanah and Matthew left their apartment complex and went to go meet up with Christopher Preciado, his house is closer than where the car is found, right? You'd have to pass that. So my question is, why do they go further out? Right? Let's keep that in mind. So this is the drive that I made from Savanah's house to the place where the vehicles were found. All right, this is the apartment complex. All right, this is the unedited version. So I turned down the street, and let me fast forward this. All right, so right here, let me minimize this so I can tell you guys what street we're on. This is the street we're on. We're on Cary Grant, heading towards Gary Burns. Okay. So this is that street. And as we pass or approach Charlie Chan, you're going to see a vehicle that, you know what? I may have passed this already. Let me go right here. Please hit that like and subscribe button, guys, if you haven't done so. I'd appreciate that. And here it is. As we're this is Charlie Chan's drive. This is the address where Mr. Preciado and his son Charlie, or Christopher Preciado, live. I'm sorry. And as you can see, let me get a little bit closer. There is the Silverado still parked in his driveway. You have two of them actually side to side. You have the darker one right there on the inside of the inside of this vehicle here. It's backed up all the way. The garage door is open. I wonder what's going on back there, what they may have back there. So this is his house. This is Charlie Chan. And this is on the way to where the bodies were located. All right. So give me a sec. So, all right, and here we go. Now, this is the house. I was there earlier today. This is where the Preciados reside. So this is the house of the Preciado family. This is Ramon and Christopher Preciado, their home. This is where he got arrested at. Right here in the driveway was another Chevy truck, and it's gone, obviously, probably with police department for forensics. So I wanted to just show that there was police loop around here, that there had been a truck, and it was actually, you can see it on Google Maps. This is from Google Maps. You can see that Chevy truck, the dark colored one, pictured here in the driveway. Yeah, no. This is today, right here. This is today. That truck is no longer there. That drive-by that I showed earlier was a few days ago, maybe a week ago or so, when I did the drive. So this is his house. This is where he was arrested at. Now back here, it's harder to see, but there was this big old banner flag. It had some crown on top of it, and it looked like it said PRE. So I'm assuming it was, their last name, Preciado, on some sort of banner with a crown or something on top of it. It was hard to see. Now I'm going to show you guys how close this was to where the bodies were found. So I speed this up. Now this is one way that they're going. I'm going to show you guys the way I think they went as well. It's very close. Like I said, guys, when I was there, I was like, man, this person either lives here, has resided in this area, lives in this area, is well familiar with this area, can't live too far away. And sure enough, it was literally 3 or 4 blocks away, or 3 or 4 streets away. In fact, the other direction, it's a lot quicker. This is Danny K. This is the street where the apartment complexes were found or located. If you go the opposite direction in front of the suspect's house, and you'll that street, Charlie Chan, intersects with Danny K. So this is the way I think he turned into the apartment complex. There's a lot of speed bumps through here, so forgive the erratic driving. So this is the area where the vehicles met up. So I'm just going to stop out here real quick, kind of take a look around, some things that I'm noticing. The first is there's a camera right there facing right in this direction. So that's the camera that caught the vehicles parked together. All right. And then out here, where I suspected the vehicle was parked, I did see some reminiscence of glass. Let me see if I can find it again. I got this thing right here. So I found this thing on the floor. I don't know what it is. It could, one of the things that I had noticed is when the vehicle opens, the Kia, the light inside doesn't turn on. I don't know if that was maybe somebody pulled a fuse or something. I have no idea. But I found this in that area. It could be related, could not be related. I don't know if anybody's a card person. You can check this out. So, yeah. And like I said, this is the direction in which the Kia came from. And that's the camera again that captured them. There's also another camera right there near where it says 25. It's facing the opposite direction. So it's going to see, there you go, I circled it there. It's going to capture the vehicles going that direction. And back there behind that apartment complex right there is where the vehicle is found. Now, this is the other direction of the where this is Preciado's home. These 2 vehicles here were also there the day that I drove by there prior to his arrest, and us obviously not knowing that he was a suspect. And that truck didn't have its wheel on. They were working on the brakes or something. You can see here that the wheel has been put back on by this time. And if you continue straight, just past that house, this is that road. This is his road past that house. I apologize for the jerkiness and stuff like that. It was kind of difficult to drive and control the camera at the same time. In fact, so right here is Danny K. You're there. That's literally, it's on that street. You turn down that street, you get to Danny K. You make a left, and you're going to approach. So that's 1 block. And when we get to that next stop sign, that'll be the second, and then you turn right into it. Literally takes about a minute, if that, to drive there from Preciado's home to the apartment complex. You want to see the video the first time I went past? Yeah, I'll pull that back up here in a sec. Let me figure it out real quick. So this is my first time that I passed by. I'm getting some update on it. Hearing that the charges have changed. Let's see what this looks like. Abusive corpse. Oh, state jail felony. They put a tampering on it as well. And alter, destroy, conceal human corpse, a second degree felony. All right. So they did change it a little bit. They charged him with felonies. And this is for, oh no, this is for Christopher. They also charged him with abusive corpse and alter, destruction, conceal human corpse. They charged him with 2 felonies. His birthday is September 7th. Crazy. So this is the drive from Soto's apartment there to where the bodies were found. I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit so we get to the part where we can see the right here. So this is actually where it's approaching right here on the right side. You can see, oh man, I stopped it right there. All right, right here. You have 2 trucks in the driveway facing towards the camera. And you have a black Hyundai vehicle facing away from the camera. This is the 2-story house that he resides in. Like I said, going from Savanah's home to where the bodies were found, this is where this house was passed by. So kind of brings up a couple of questions for me. Like the police have said that the crime did not occur at the apartment complex. You know, the father gets there before the son, right? According to that video. Now it's just before the son, and it seems like they're arriving at the same time almost. And it appears that the father was looking into the vehicle as if, you know, he didn't know what had happened. So I don't think that the crime happened at his house per se, right? Because I think that his father would have known that something happened at his house. You know, the way the father was dressed in an undershirt and shorts tells me he was asleep. Right. I said that in the video prior. I said the way this guy's dressed, this guy's probably somebody that this person trusts. It's probably a family member, probably a parent. So I've been right on like 90% of this thing. So this is the house. But I suspect that this crime didn't happen too far from here. Let me back it up a little bit. I'll just pause it there when we get in front of it. So you can see that red truck is having some work done. You can see that the driveway garage is open. In fact, it looks like this truck is backed in partially into the garage, to be honest with you. Dad posted bail. I'm not sure, but he probably will. The son probably won't, you know, but his bail, it'll probably be somewhere around. I mean, the fine for, let's just say they charge him with a state jail felony. It's probably around 10 grand, I think, is the maximum fine. So I would assume, and there's some prison time on top of that. So he's probably looking somewhere around the $50,000 range. It also kind of depends on how much money they make and stuff like that. If that's, you know, nothing for them, then it'll be upped, obviously. But his bond will probably be around the 50 to 100,000 range. So he'll be out if he has $5,000 or if he can put a vehicle up as collateral for bail bonds. So I can see that being plausible. Him, not so much. His bond is probably going to be revoked. He fled, he hid, things like that. That's not going to help his case for a bond. And also the nature and the punishment alongside with the crimes. Oh wow! See, somebody says father's bail is $100,000, I believe, and bail bondsman 10,000. See, yeah, so between 50 and $100,000 is what I thought, and there it is. All right, so this is where that house is. $1 million, yeah, there you go. That makes sense. Dad's out already, and somebody says that the father's is 100,000, son's is $1 million. Dad made bail this morning. Yeah, much different story. I had no idea about those bonds. I just go based off of what experience that I have in law enforcement. All right, so let's minimize this real quick. Let's bring up my maps. Get this back up. Okay, so we know that the father pulls into the back area, and he's traveling in this direction he's traveling from left to right on the screen. The Kia is coming southbound. Oh, it's not south. It's coming downward. I don't want to make it. Yeah. Dang it. All right. So the Kia is coming southbound-ish, southeastbound, and then it turns southwest. And this is where the vehicle is turning northwest. And this is where they meet right here in the center. All right. So I can assume that given how close they live, that Ramon Preciado probably left his house here, turned down this street, turned left on Danny K. And then you're right there at the apartment complex. All right. So he's facing a direction as if he was coming from this area. The Kia is coming down from this area. Could be one or two things. Maybe the Kia missed the turn here and then turned there. Maybe perhaps the father was following him and he missed the first turn. Father makes the turn. He turns in here. I don't know. It kind of doesn't make any sense. I think if he missed the turn, he's going to follow him. And I don't understand. Yeah, that don't make sense. So father came in from this direction, pulled in here. I would assume that the son came in from a different direction, right? The opposite direction, this way. Right now, the father got there faster, but not by much, unless he was parked somewhere way over here and then, creeped up at the end. But from what I can see from the, let me see. Let's see if I have it here. So you see, it's pulling in. It stops just as the Kia is pulling up. So they got there pretty much at the same time. Right. So that tells me that what can we factor in based on the way the guy was dressed, the father, that he probably got a call early in the morning saying, hey, I messed up. This happened. He's probably telling him, all right, meet me somewhere. Meet me here at this place. They live fairly close. Father has to get up, get whoever is in the vehicle with him. So I'm assuming at that point, it's definitely a family member, somebody that lives in that house. And then they would have to drive here. So it's probably maybe 7 minutes tops from getting up, getting in the vehicle and driving here. That's kind of pushing it. The drive itself only took me a minute and a half. I think it was like a minute and 36 seconds to get from his house to the apartment complex. And that was driving at the speed limit. He might be, obviously under duress, under stress, maybe adrenaline going, freaking out for his son. So he might, more than likely, is driving quicker. Still not going to shed the time off by a little bit. The distance ain't that far. So he'd probably get there in a minute and 20, minute and 15 seconds. So on top of him getting ready and dressed. So yeah, I can see him being there from the call to the time that he arrives, probably about 5 to 7 minutes. Key arrives right after him. So this crime occurred 5 to 7 minutes away, probably in this direction. Does that make sense? I hope all that makes sense as far as what I'm trying to say. Matthews killed his own gun. I don't know if that's true or not. Now, I think that based on the father saying you only know one side, you don't know everything type of stuff, I think they're going to try to go for a self-defense plea. If Matthew was killed with his own gun and Christopher didn't have one with him, he kind of does have a case. However, in the state of Texas, if somebody passes during the commission of a crime, especially a felony, then you're responsible for that. So, for instance, like, let's say there's a robbery in progress where somebody goes into a convenience store, pulls out a handgun, takes money, and as he's running, he out the door, he knocks an elderly guy down, and he falls, hits his head, and he passes because of it. Now, the intention wasn't there, but so a lot of folks would be like, well, it's manslaughter. Now, not when you're during the commission of a crime or a felony. So if he was committing a felony, let's just say that it wasn't, if it was more than 4 ounces of marijuana, let's just say it was another narcotic or a high graded offense graded substance, then that's a felony. 2 murders during the commission of that felony. He's going to be toast, even if he was defending himself. It's going to be hard for him to get around that. Now, he might have he's going to have to go in front of a jury, and the jury's going to have to decide whether or not it's enough or not. But by the color of the law and just looking at it black and white, this is legal, this is not legal, this is what you can be charged with, this is what you can't be charged with. That's where that stands. But, if Matthew's life was taken with his own gun, there could be, I would think that a juror could see that there could have been a struggle there. The problem is, what about Savanah and her unborn child? Like, what's the fear of your life in that situation? Especially if you find out that his life was taken first, and does Savanah also have a gun or something like that? I don't know. We also do know that Matthew's fatal wound was a contact wound. So that sounds more like, execution style to me. Maybe perhaps this was a setup. I think that his brother spoke about that he was set up by somebody he knew. I can see that because I think that the murders happened inside of the car. I think they lost their lives in the car. Based on the fact that the bodies were still in the car when they were found. If you committed this crime elsewhere, one, you'd probably leave the car seat behind if the car seat was in fact on top of Savanah as rumored. 2, you're probably putting the bodies in the trunk, not in the car. And so, what I'm thinking is that this crime probably took place in a non-secluded area. So there's probably traffic, there's probably people, maybe a neighborhood somewhere not too far away. And this guy took their lives and didn't want to be seen carrying a body out of the vehicle and put in the back of a trunk. So my assumption is he was probably in the back seat making a deal. Something went wrong, whether it was planned, premeditated or not, which I tend to think it wasn't, based on the fact that the father showed up, undressed and stuff like that, the wee hours of the morning when it's still kind of cold. It sounds to me like this was probably something that happened in the moment. I would assume that if this was something that this guy had to plan, he may have had some sort of plan or strategy that didn't involve calling his mom and dad in the wee hours of the morning to go help him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this crime happened in probably in a high traffic area, maybe a neighborhood. Didn't want to be seen, so he pulled, the driver, which I'm assuming was Miss Matthew, out of the front seat, from the back seat into the back seat, took the car seat out, put it on top of Savanah, and then got in the driver's seat and ran. That's my assumption there, and speculation. Let's see. CBS Austin says Christopher and Ramon Preciado are both being held at Bexar County Jail. Christopher's bail was set at a combined $2 million, while Ramon was held on a combined $600,000 bond. Oh, nice. I mean, if they charged him with multiple charges, I think they can do that. But again, I've never been on that side of the law, and I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. Never had an experience in that, so I'm not too familiar when it comes to bonds and stuff like that. Charging somebody, I'll tell you how they do that. How you find someone, I can tell you how they do that. What they're thinking. Police, that is, for the most part. Probably be able to tell you what, quite a bit. They were not taken from their apartments, so no kidnapping charges. Yeah, I mean, based on what the police officer said, that this was a drug deal gone wrong. I think that's exactly the words that he used. That tells me that, this was probably that. I mean, that's also the reason why you take the phone and the gun with you, right? You take the gun because it probably has your prints and can identify you, stuff like that. You take the phone because it sounds like, based on what the police said, that he knew both Savanah and Matthew from doing drug exchanges in the past. So it didn't sound like they were unfamiliar with each other, all three of them. So I can assume that he probably made contact with one of them. Maybe it was Savanah. I don't know. And maybe this guy had a jealous thing going on. Wasn't there a rumor or something said that they were fighting that night they disappeared? Maybe that's why. He didn't like, this guy calling at a certain time or something. I don't know. And, he goes and sets something up, and Matthew's going to try to punk him. And it turns out for the worse. I mean, that's all a big possibility as well. More charges to come. I think so. That is out according to the site. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, some crazy stuff. Again, I was out there. I looked at the house. Like I said, when I went out there to the apartment complex, first thing that came out of my mouth was like, this guy lives close. There's no way you're going to go dump a body here and be aware of it and not live close. Like, this was somewhere somebody had to have known. And so, I think that Christopher probably has been in that apartment complex before. He's 19 years old, so he's just out of school not too long ago. Kids in school are placed in school based on their geographics. So is it possible that one of his classmates or friends resided in that apartment complex, given the proximity of where it's located towards his home? I think so. I think that's a high possibility. And if he's been in that apartment complex, then that might be why it's familiar. If it's somebody that was a really good friend of his or a family member that may have resided there, I think that's probably the case, because the father's familiar with where it's at. So, if the father's familiar where that apartment complex is, I wouldn't be surprised if, this is something or someone they had visited a while, maybe a long time ago when, they were when he was a child, and, the father had picked him up from that area. I'm pretty sure that's where the connection is going to come in. Let's see. Yeah. He lived close. Yeah, I said that. He said he's going to live close. Yes, agreed, Daniel. It happened in the car. Abruptly thinking Matthew and Savanah were fighting he was caught in the middle situation. I don't think drugs were the issue. I mean, I'm fairly positive that both individuals talked, both Preciados. Given the way the sergeant came out and was pretty confident that it was a drug deal gone bad. The way they caught him, I believe, or found him was because he had her phone or his phone still on at his house. And so I think they got him, and I think he spoke, and I think he said that it was that. Now, could it be more? Could it have been somebody directed him to do this? And he's not trying to give up anybody, and he's just going to say that that's what it was. That's very plausible. That's very plausible. The dad owning the AC company, he has been there before doing work and remember the spot. Yeah, that's probably true too. If he did own the AC company and they worked in that area, that's very close to his home, and he would definitely be very familiar with it. I would think, though, that he would be familiar with the cameras there. Unless those cameras are a new addition within the last couple of years, maybe the last year or two, and since these guys have been in that area, that's a possibility. He only had to deal with Matthew. She was too preggo to do anything liability. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where it comes into play, where he took the life of Matthew, and was Savanah also just because she was a witness, and if so, then that's definitely murder in every sense that you can describe the word. Somebody said that involved was a maintenance man. Maybe. Give me a sec. I'm gonna try to see it. This is his, and these are his charges. It's abuse of a corpse and alter, destroy, conceal human corpse. Right. This is for Christopher Ray Preciado. You know what's not there? Capital murder. Interesting stuff. What do you guys think about that? Can you guys? I know you guys are pretty good in the comment section. Can you guys look this up while I'm here, because this was sent to me, and yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but this does kind of say some things here, like what's going on. Intake time 23:58, magistrate time 9:50, pending magistration. Magistrate release January 4, 2024 at 9:58. That doesn't mean he was released from custody. That just means that's what time that they were done giving his magistration stuff. Not handled comments. Okay. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? That charge ain't there. Are they on the court records? I hope so. Yeah, dad wasn't there when the crime was committed, so son called dad for help. Yeah, 100%. That's what I think. But you have here this interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Just thought I'd share that with you guys. I got that here a couple of seconds ago. Give me one sec. All right, so I'm getting word that it was updated on the Bexar County links, and it's there now. I think that just reflects additional charges. That could be. That could be. They released the affidavit. Really? All right, let me see if I can find that. That's good to know. Let me see if I can find that. If you guys know where it's at or can already have it and email it to me, please do so. I'll be able to pull that up. So Christopher Preciado affidavit. Here it is. Here it is. Guerra last month, according to the San Antonio police. Authorities said that they are the sole suspects in the case. Christopher Preciado, 19, has been charged with capital murder. His hold on one second. All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. I had to close the messenger because it was kind of getting on me. Guys, just next time call my phone. I'd appreciate that. Can you guys hear me now? No, it's not. Can y'all hear me? I can hear you. Okay. All right, let me know if you guys can still hear me. No sound still? Yes, can now. All right, cool. Sorry about that. My computer's been kind of jacking up here recently. Details emerge of how father and son duo allegedly killed and hid the bodies of Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra. Also, those with the Facebook stuff, messages, I closed that because it was bothering me with the noise, so I can't see them anymore. If something comes up, please do call my phone. So this goes. It says father and son were arrested Wednesday in connection with the deaths of Savanah Soto and her boyfriend Matthew Guerra late last month. According to the San Antonio police, authorities said that they are the sole suspects in the case. Christopher Preciado, 19, has been charged with the capital murder of his father. Ramon Preciado, 53, was charged with the abuse of a corpse in this case. San Antonio police said that they collected a cell phone as critical piece of evidence when they discovered Soto and Guerra's body in a northwest side apartment complex lot on December 26. San Antonio police said they collected a cell phone as critical piece of evidence when they discovered Soto and Guerra's body in a northwest side apartment complex parking lot. So a phone was there at the scene in the parking lot. So it sounds like this guy discarded one of the phones in the parking lots, in that parking lot there, hoping they wouldn't find it. Probably in the trash can. Huh. All right. So I have the affidavit. It's right here. I just wanted to read the top part. Christopher Preciado, 19, has been charged with capital murder, and his father, Ramon Preciado, 53, was charged in abuse of a court in case. So let's see this. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Guerra had gone to Preciado's home to sell him marijuana on the night of December 21st. Christopher Preciado said that Guerra pointed a gun at him while Preciado manipulated the weapons, resulting in Soto being shot. Moments later, Guerra once again pointed the gun at Christopher Preciado, who told detectives that he manipulated the weapon again, resulting in Guerra being shot. So he's saying that that Guerra pointed the gun. So this is the self-defense thing that I was telling you guys. So Guerra pointed the gun at him. And remember, I was kind of talking to you guys earlier. One of the things that he could say was, it was some sort of self-defense thing. But it doesn't make any sense that, and I don't understand why it means by manipulated the weapon. Like they were fighting for it. And then the other thing is, wasn't Guerra's wound contact wound? All right, let's continue. Maybe this says this here. The medical examiner previously reported that Guerra died from a contact gunshot wound to the head. Christopher Preciado is alleged the sole killer in the case, according to the police. SAPD said his father helped hide the bodies. According to the affidavit, Christopher Preciado drove Guerra's vehicle to the apartment complex down the street on Danny K when the bodies were discovered 5 days later. Ramon Preciado admits to detectives that he drove the pickup to the apartment complex to meet his son, which was seen on surveillance footage by police. So this happened at Guerra's home. I mean, at Preciado's home. See, I told you guys, it didn't happen too far from there. Ramon Preciado also identified himself on surveillance video as the person getting out of the pickup truck, knowingly treated the human corpse. San Antonio police said that the critical piece of evidence that led to the suspects was one of the victim's cell phones in the vehicle when they discovered Soto and Guerra's body. The phone had been recently searched. The suspect's address on Google's Maps, where the investigators spotted the Chevrolet pickup truck seen in surveillance's video police had shared on December 28th. Officers conducted. Why would they release the video then? That's kind of weird. If they had that, officers conducted surveillance on a home on Charlie Chan Drive, where they believe the suspect vehicle is located. The home was located about 2 blocks away from where the bodies were discovered. According to the arrest warrant affidavit, the drive is less than a mile away, according to Google Maps. Police knocked on the door, and Ramon Preciado answered and said he knew why the police were there, according to SAPD. The father and son were taken into custody and questioned downtown at police headquarters. SAPD said a judge signed a warrant for the arrest based on the information provided during questioning. According to the affidavit, the families of the victims told police that Guerra sold drugs on his cell phone and other social media. Guerra posted pictures of money and narcotics on his Instagram. The affidavit stated that the people wanted to rob Guerra and that he had been shot before. Interesting. Give me a sec. I got to check something real quick. All right. According to the affidavit, the families, all right. SAPD said the department would be working with Bexar County District Court Office to determine any further charges since Soto was pregnant and about to give birth at the time of her death. The unborn child was named Fabian, according to the affidavit. Police say Christopher Preciado had no previous criminal history and the father had some criminal history. Ramon Preciado's bond was set at $100,000 while Christopher's had been set at $1 million. So that's where it's at. Oh, man. This is why I couldn't read. I went through this and I forgot to get through here. Give me a sec. I'll read the actual affidavit itself. All right. It says, undersigned affiant Detective Jeremy Goodwin, badge number 2322, being a peace officer under the law of the state of Texas and being duly sworn on oath, makes the following statements of accusations. A victim in this case has been identified as Savanah Soto, date of birth August 22nd, 2005, here then after referred to as victim 1. A victim in this case has been identified as Matthew Gabriel Guerra, date of birth October 26, 2001, here and after referred to as victim 2. An actor in this case has been identified as Christopher Ray Preciado, date of birth September 7, 2004, here then after referred to as the defendant. Said defendant is further identified in SAPD computer files under SID number 1191061. It is believed that your affidavit that the offense of capital murder, multiple persons, was committed on or about the 21st day of December 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. So it was right after they left that house. They went directly to his house to go drop off some stuff, and obviously it went wrong. Your affidavit of probable cause is set to believe the reason of following fact. On December 23rd, 2023, Leon Valley Police received a call for a missing persons report. Family, the missing person stated that she was supposed to be induced for a pregnancy and did not show up for her appointment. The family advised They had not been able to get a hold of the female and stated she was not answering her phone. A check at the hospitals was conducted by the family, and it was found that the female was not at any of the hospitals. It was found that the female lived with her boyfriend. However, the family of the boyfriend advised they were not able to get in touch with him as well. The female was entered as a missing person by Leon Valley. Further investigation found that the female and her boyfriend were not responding to any phone calls and their whereabouts were unknown. Media broadcast on the news the story of the missing female and her boyfriend. In the media, the boyfriend's car description was broadcasted to the media and was said to be a 2013 gray Kia Optima. On December 26, 2023, a resident of 5903 Danny K messaged the family of the female and advised them that they believe the vehicle was parked at 5903 Danny K. So somebody that lived at the apartment complex saw the vehicle and contacted the family of somebody. Maybe they saw the number, maybe they knew him. The family contacted the Leon Valley and drove to the location. Upon Leon Valley Police arrival at the location, Leon Valley Police observed the vehicle inside. Inside the vehicle was a deceased pregnant female in the front seat, a deceased male in the back seat of the vehicle. San Antonio police were contacted and your affidavit made the location. Upon arrival to the location, your affidavit observed the vehicle. The vehicle was a 2013 Kia Optima with Texas license plate TRC 9447. Your affidavit checked the VIN number, and the VIN number was the same as the VIN number that was broadcast for the news for the missing couple. A check in the information through NCIC, TCIC showed that the vehicle belonged to the boyfriend and of the female. Your affidavit observed the front passenger right of the vehicle. Your affidavit observed a deceased pregnant female inside in the front passenger seat. Did your affidavit acknowledge the female on a previous murder case from 2022? The affiant recognized the female to be that of the missing female. The female appeared to have trauma to her head. The affiant then observed in the back seat of the vehicle. The affiant observed a deceased male in the back seat of the vehicle. The deceased male resembled the boyfriend to the female. The male had an apparent gunshot wound to his head. It appeared that the male had been dragged into the vehicle. Oh, wow. Your affiant did not observe any weapon near the male. So this did happen outside of the vehicle, and they dragged him into the car, into the back. That's weird. They put her in the front seat. Well, this doesn't say that, her life was taken outside of the vehicle. But according to what we just read, that it was a argument and manipulation of the gun. That's weird. All right, so a search was requested, so entry into the vehicle could be conducted. While waiting for the search warrant, your affiant spoke to the families of the female and the male. It was found that the boyfriend to the female sold narcotics and would use his phone through cellular communications as well as social media to sell narcotics. It was also advised that the boyfriend would post money and narcotics on Instagram. It was stated that the people wanted to rob the boyfriend, and it stated that the boyfriend had been shot before. The family provided your affiant with the phone number of the female. The family of the male provided your affiant with his phone number as well as his Instagram. While the search warrant arrived at the location, a search of the vehicle was conducted. The search found shell casings. When the search of the warrant arrived at the location, a search of the vehicle was conducted. The search found spent shell casings in the vehicle. However, there was no weapon recovered in the vehicle. So if there's shell casings in the vehicle, it sounds like, I'm so confused. It sounds like, unless what they mean by dragged into, let me go back real quick. It appeared dragged into the vehicle, not, that's weird. All right, let's continue this. There was apparent blood transfer on the outside of the vehicle that was not consistent with the boyfriend causing harm to the female. Both the female and the male had gunshot wounds to the head, and the male also had apparent drag marks on his back. It was believed that the female and the male were killed at a different location, and the vehicle was driven to the recovered location. During further investigation, your affiant found video surveillance video at 5903 Danny K. The video surveillance found that on December 21st, 2023, around 23:59, so right before midnight, a Chevy Silverado gray driving with its lights off in the the vehicle recovered location. The Silverado pulled into the middle of the back parking lot and parked the vehicle. The victim's vehicle could be seen approaching the Chevrolet Silverado. The victim's vehicle parked next to the Silverado. A heavyset male exited the Silverado on the driver's side. Door of the victim's vehicle opened. A heavyset male approached the driver of the victim's vehicle and appeared to speak to the driver. The heavyset male then got a towel from inside his vehicle. It appears to wipe down the outside of the victim's vehicle door where he had touched the vehicle. The driver of the victim's vehicle exited the vehicle for a brief moment and sat back in the driver's seat. The driver did not match the description of the female victim or the male victim. The Hispanic male got back into his vehicle. The victim's vehicle drove behind the building where the vehicle was found December 26, 2023. The Silverado followed the victim's vehicle. Approximately 3 minutes later, the Silverado was observed leaving from behind the building where the victim's vehicle was found. The victim's vehicle did not leave the location. It was believed that the victims were already deceased in the vehicle at the time of the video observed. It is believed the unknown driver, a heavyset male observed in the parking, that parked the victim's vehicle at the location in an effort to hide the vehicle. On January 2nd, 2024, your client provided one of the victim's cell phones to Detective Knox at the Technical Investigation Unit on January 3rd, 2024. I think I know this detective. I wonder if his first name is David. After received the phone download from Detective Knox, your client found that the victim had recently searched the street of Charlie Chan Drive. Due to your client's knowledge of the crime scene area, your client was aware that Charlie Chan Drive was a couple blocks away. The victim, from where the victim's vehicle was recovery location, your client was able to discover that the victim's vehicle pinged near Charlie Chan Drive and Cary Cranton Drive around 23:50 hours the night they went missing. So they pinged there 9 minutes before they showed up there. So all of this occurred within a few minutes from them arriving at that location. That sounds more like a setup to me. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section. Like, yeah, I don't understand. It sounds like something went down right away. Like as soon as they got off, there was a problem. There was a beef. Something happened. Your client conducted a computer search and was able to locate a vehicle that looked identical to the suspect vehicle seen on the camera with the victim vehicle. Your client did a research on the owner of the vehicle and found that the owner of the vehicle matched the description of the male that exited the vehicle on camera. Homicide detectives went to the vehicle location listed above and found the listed vehicle at the location while at the residence on Charlie Chan. A person identified as Ramon Preciado reported knowingly why SAPD were at his residence. Ramon Preciado informed SAPD detectives to speak with his son, identified as Christopher Preciado. Ramon Preciado and Christopher Preciado were transported to SAPD homicide to speak with your client, while additional SAPD detectives searched the residence on Charlie Chan Drive under the authority of a search warrant. Your client spoke with Ramon Preciado after Ramon Preciado was read his Miranda rights. Ramon Preciado admitted to driving the Chevrolet to 5903 Danny K Drive, where he met Christopher Preciado. Ramon identified himself on surveillance video from the 5903 Danny K Drive as the person observed exiting the Chevy Silverado. Ramon reported meeting Christopher at this apartment complex, who was driving another vehicle. The vehicle is the vehicle in which Matthew Guerra and Savanah Soto were found deceased. Ramon Preciado admitted to assisting Christopher at 5903 Danny K Drive. Ramon Preciado knowingly treated the human corpse of Matthew Guerra, Savanah Soto, and the unborn child of Savanah Soto named Fabian in an offensive manner by leaving them in an abandoned vehicle. Your client then spoke with Christopher Preciado after Christopher was read his Miranda rights. Christopher reported that Matthew and Savanah drove to his residence on Charlie Chan Drive to sell Christopher marijuana. Christopher went on to provide a version of events that were inconsistent with the evidence collected at the scene and from the victim's recovered vehicle. Christopher claimed that the male victim pointed a weapon at him, and Christopher was able to manipulate the weapon, resulting in the female being shot. Christopher then stated that he pointed the weapon at him again, and he manipulated the weapon again, resulting in the male victim being shot. Christopher Preciado's statement is inconsistent with the gunshot wounds suffered by Matthew Guerra and Savanah Soto and the evidence located at the crime scene. Christopher Preciado intentionally discharged a firearm at Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra with the intention of causing death. The actions of Christian Preciado resulted in the death of Matthew Guerra, Savanah Soto, and Savanah Soto's unborn child named Fabian. Your find has reason to believe that he does believe that said defiant Christopher Ray Preciado on or about the 21st day, December 2023, in Bexar County, Texas, intentionally caused the death of multiple persons. There's a warrant for arrest. Nothing really on there. So some interesting things there. Like, it sounds like this did take place at his house, which would make sense why they were there so quickly. You know, I don't know, man. I think there's more to this story, obviously. You know, whatever happened very quickly. They set up a drug buy. He went to their house to do the drug buy, and he ends up dead with his girlfriend, who's pregnant as well. Matthew, that is. That's weird. Only Matthew sounds. Well, I can't read that. Only Matt wound is absolute. Yeah. You see, and that's the other thing too. It's like a contact wound. So how does that accidentally happen? All right. I mean, that means that the muzzle of the gun was right next to his head, wherever it was. I'm assuming. I don't know where it was. All right. Here's the other thing. If it happened at his house, right? Like they claim, like it's kind of what I'm reading, right? It happened at Preciado's house. They did a warrant. They searched the house. Did they find blood there? Was there blood in the garage? If there wasn't, why wasn't there? Was it cleaned, or was the garage prepped? Right? And if it was prepped, that means that this definitely was some sort of hit. Or, yeah, definitely. I don't know. Doesn't make sense for a guy with no record to do all that. Well, he's 19. So he hasn't lived, long enough to probably get a record, and or he hasn't been caught to have a record. So, and then again, he may have had something in his, as a juvenile, and maybe expunged that we're unaware of. So she didn't get out of the car, in my opinion. That's what I think too. That's what it sounds like. I mean, who would be sitting next to, like, on purpose, the body of somebody that was just deceased, and especially if it went down in the manner that he said it went down. And, according to him, he's not a cold-blooded killer. It was an accident. It was a self-defense, right? But yet he was driving around with her dead body right next to him. A planned hit at your own home? That doesn't fit. Well, I mean, maybe not, but he also had the phone on at his house, apparently, and there was some other things that had occurred that he didn't do very smart. Like, he dumped the body 2 blocks away from his home. So, I don't know. It very well could have been something that occurred where it was, something that went wrong, but it must have gone wrong very quick. They arrived there, and within 9 minutes, they're dumping their bodies. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I do think that maybe perhaps, is it possible that this kid, got involved with the wrong people? There's been rumors that, Matthew was, working with different, other drug dealers and stuff like that. And even the family said that he had been, tried to be robbed before, and he'd been shot in the past. Maybe it was a robbery gone wrong. I don't think you send somebody to your house for a robbery gone wrong, or for a robbery. I'm sorry. That don't make much sense, to be honest with you. So I don't think it was that. It is either the intention was to take their lives before they arrived, or it was a drug deal that got bad. I think those are probably the two things that are most reasonable. But when you have a contact wound to the head and you have another person shot in the head, the rumors are that they're both on the right side of the ear. That sounds to me more executional than a fight. I don't know. The dad was made on Savanah's phone. But the deal was made on Savanah's phone. Yeah, that's true. Well, it was made on somebody's phone. I'm assuming it was Savanah's phone. And that's the other thing. I mean, is it possible that, this guy messaged Savanah at 11 o'clock at night? This other guy, Matthew, he was already, maybe under the influence of something. I don't know. Maybe supposedly they were already fighting. Guy messages his girlfriend. Maybe he got a little upset by that. Goes over there and, the guy legitimately thinks that it's a drug deal. And the guy gets there and, Matthew and his girlfriend get there and he's like, he punks him, tries to punk him as to why, his, why he's messaging his girlfriend so late or something. I don't know. And things go bad. That's possible too. I don't know. Interesting stuff. I emailed county clerk rec of Chris's first degree charge. Thank you so much, Micro Kimmy. I'm going to pull that up real quick. Let me do that real fast. All right, so here is the actual county clerk, district clerk, county court records. So Christopher Ray Preciado, capital murder, multiple persons. Here's the case events. Booked on the 4th, bond set at $1 million on the 4th. Magistrated, warranted, executed. Offender record. All right, so it's backwards. That's the last thing that happened. So yeah, capital murder, multiple persons. So this is when the crime occurred. Warrant received January 3rd. So that's around the time they figured out where this guy was or had enough to go and pick him up and talk to him. There's probably a lot that went down between the 3rd and 21st. Interesting. This guy is a repeat buyer from them to go to his house. I would think so. I mean, you also got to look, if it was Savanah's phone, she's 18, he's 19. I don't know where her family, lives or resides, but, I would assume that it's probably not too far away from where they live and work. And if, she resided, with her parents on this side previously, when she was 17, 16 years old, while she was still in school, and then she may have gone to school with this guy, and that may be where they know each other, because it's not that far away. It really isn't. This is Bandera. It's just on the other side of Bandera, couple, like maybe a neighborhood down. So it's not too far at all. He absolutely trusted them to come to his home. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of people go to drug dealers' homes, and I've seen a lot of people allow drug dealers to come to their homes and drop stuff off. For one thing, when somebody buys from someone, it's very rarely that it's just out of the blue and random, right? I think that there's some sort of connection there, whether it's through somebody or a friend or whatever the case may be. And then they're introduced to someone, and then eventually, that's how they know them. How quick they would be going to the guy's house, I don't know. That's a good question. Also depends on the money. I mean, if somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, I'll give you an extra $50 if you drive 3 minutes to my house and drop it off," some people would be enticed by doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure. It was a setup. They had a plan. Look at Chris' brother and dad's records. They go deep. Gang sign Chris has a brother in 30s. Interesting. I'll look into who their family is. Yeah, this stuff that just came up last night, we're looking into it now. And yeah, and this is where they met up. So I'm assuming he pulled in, he may have missed the entrance and you to come in the other way. I just don't understand this interaction here. Unless the reason I don't understand this interaction, I mean, he flashes the lights at him, turns off the light. They meet up here. He looks inside. I don't know. Just to me, it just seemed like there was. Like, this is him finding out about this incident. Guess not. Daniel, great coverage, brother. Well, I appreciate that. With this, it's a lot easier to cover this when it's in literally my backyard. Everyone's blaming Matthew for dealing, but apparently so is she. It sounded like he knew them both through those type of dealings. People are saying Matthew and Christopher were friends. Maybe. They're both still in jail. I called. Or they met somewhere and Chris entered their car for the deal. Maybe. I mean, it just sounds like they drove to his house. They had his address in their Google Maps and they went to go do the deal there. I don't know. Maybe there are more people involved in this. This seems kind of weird, man. And they may not be putting it out there. They don't want to spook somebody, or they don't want nobody to know that this guy talked. Something like that. Something seems off. And for those that missed it earlier, I was out on location at this guy's apartment or his home. This is his house. As you can see, I'm gonna mute this. As you can see, this is where he lives. There's that red truck right here next to it was where the black truck was. This garage door is now closed. Crazy stuff. Now, if you go this direction, it takes a little bit longer. It takes about 2 minutes to get to Daniel K. If you go the other direction, and this is what I was showing you guys, that black truck was there before. This is from Google Maps. But I actually went back and found it on my pass by because I drove from Savanah's apartment to where the bodies were found. And I drove by this house, and that Chevy truck was just sitting right there, the black one, parked outside. I'll go back and show it one more time before I call it a show for those that just, joined us. Also, we got 1,200 folks in here, a little bit more than that. Let's hit that like button. Let's subscribe, please. I appreciate that. Good money in HVAC. Yeah, in Texas too. It's definitely good money here. So if you go this direction, like I said, it took me probably about 2.5 minutes to get there. So you go up the street, you make one right turn, and go straight. There's a lot of speed bumps in this area. And then you're going to make another right turn. And then it's a quick left, and that's it. You're right here on Dan K. So this is the street where the apartment complex is. Super close. And like I said, when I was out there, I was like, man, whoever did this, they lived very close to here. They lived around here. They're familiar with this area. I'm very positive that Christopher guy maybe has friends or family in this area, maybe schoolmates from back in the day. He's only 19, so I'm assuming he was in school just 2-3 years ago. So this is the direction I think the truck went. and then it made a left here, and then right there's that meeting point. Right here. So this is the area where both the truck and the car pulled up. Thank you, Bernadette, for your $1 super sticker. I appreciate that. Oh, $3 super sticker. I'm sorry about that. I can't read it from here. There it is. Yeah, it happened in a very, very small area. There it goes. And so I don't know what that is. I found that on the floor. It was right there where the vehicle was parked. And one thing that I noticed when the vehicle, the Kia door opened, like none of the interior lights turned on or anything like that. Just speculating maybe they pulled a fuse or something, or a relay to stop the lights from inside the vehicle being turned on. These are the projects here. They hear gunshots all the time. This isn't really the projects. This is not. This is actually a pretty nice area, to be honest with you. This isn't bad. I mean, this is an apartment complex, and I understand that there's probably going to be, in apartments, they have different rules, things like that. And I don't know. Get a couple kids living close together, they might have something. But from my understanding, this is not a very bad area. I did hear that this apartment complex had a lot of drug deals and stuff like that, but not a lot of like gunshots, gunfires, people, losing their lives in this area. This is right next to the medical center in San Antonio, so it's not bad. So this is the area. This is the route I actually think Ramon Preciado took. So this is the back of his house. One thing I wanted to show was, I really couldn't see it, but there was, or you can't see it here, but back here, let me run it just a sec. Right here, there's this little like, I guess porch area, and there's this big banner that says, I think it says Preciado. It said PRE, and it had like some kind of design on it. So I'm assuming that it was their last name. But yeah, this is his house, and if Ramon went this direction to get to the apartment, this is his street. Sorry about all the shakiness. I was actually passing the phone to my wife so she can help me video this as well. And there you are. You're at Danny K. You're on his street. So it is literally in his street. On the opposite end, so he lives on one corner. On the opposite corner, where it intersects, is Danny K, and that's the street that has that's where the apartment complex is located. So this happened very close, and as you can see, I mean, these aren't bad houses out there, guys. This isn't a crappy neighborhood. This isn't, somewhere I would expect there to be a lot of problems like this. Maybe see if I can fast forward or rewind a little bit. And then I'll pause it. You have people jogging, working out, running, walking their dogs. Like, yeah, this isn't that bad of a neighborhood. The cars aren't all junked up. You don't have any cars on bricks or junk cars, things like that. You have newer cars. Grass is green everywhere. Well-maintained yards. Probably have an HOA. Neighborhood watch sign. Right here we just passed. So yeah, it's not a bad neighborhood. It really isn't. Don't break down at night deep in the east side. That's all. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. Also, the west side ain't too great from what I hear. I'm in the far northwest, so I'm a little bit of ways. Let me see. Where was that other one? I'm going to show you guys one more time before I call it a show. And this was my trip a week ago from their address. This is where Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra lived. This is their apartment complex. And I'll fast forward it. On the drive to where their bodies were located, as you can see, like, look, it's a nice house right there. This one's not sped up or anything, so you can kind of see. Yeah, these are nice homes. I mean, you're looking at probably about $250,000 to $350,000 homes. That one's a really nice one, probably about a $400,000 home there, 380 somewhere around there. Medical center, taxes, yeah, it's not a bad place. And so, like, this is on the way to where the bodies were found. And then you're going to see that you actually drive into a different neighborhood, but it's got this nice little gate going into it. This is the neighborhood in which where Preciado's, this is where they reside. It is called the Forest Oaks. So yeah, it's not bad. But I'm going to fast forward a little bit. All right, so here I'm pulling up to, what was it? Say the street right now. Oh, can't. But it's that it's the street. Wait, I may have passed. Hold on. No, it's right here. This is the street. I apologize. So right here, there's that Cray Street or Gary Street. Make a left on. This street intersects with Charlie Chan, and his house is going to be on the right side. It's a corner house. Again, this video was taken a week or so ago, before his arrest, before anybody knew who he was. They said they had surveillance on him. You see any? You have somebody walking right here. I wonder if that's undercover. They just look. They were looking back. Look at this lady over here on the left. That's kind of not trying not to look at that house right there. There's some kids on the side over here. I don't know where they would have done surveillance at. Maybe they would have asked somebody here. Oh, what's up, Dog Mom? Thank you for the $2 super chat. Jules of All Trade brought me to your channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jules she's pretty cool. She's been on the channel a couple times. So here's the house right there. This is his house. This is a 2-story house. You can see the black Chevy truck in the driveway. It is backed into the garage slightly. Right now, if you're going to do a drug deal and something's going to go down and somebody's going to come to your house, where are they going to park? Where are they going to do this at? Probably right here on the side of the house, maybe. Where is this crime happening? You get what I'm saying? Like, this part kind of confused me a little bit. Like, did he go into his garage? Is that where it happened? Was it inside the house? Now, it sounds like to me Savanah was in the car when she lost her life. Was it out here in the street? He had drag marks on his back. I think I'm going to go back out here and see if I can find anything that's looks like they're drag marks. I don't know. I don't understand where this is happening. Let me know in the comment section what you guys. Do you think it's in the driveway? I mean, it's possible that it was the driveway. I don't know. I think I see some movement in that curtain on that left window. It's kind of hard to see though. I might have to go back, zoom in, and see. Oh yeah, there is movement in that curtain. It looked like somebody moved it a little bit. It could be a reflection. I could be wrong, but it looked like somebody was looking out that curtain. I mean, I would be pretty nervous if I was this guy during this time. You know what I'm saying? Looking out the window at all times. Drag marks were probably from dragging him into the car, probably why his pants were down too, in my opinion. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But well, maybe. I mean, they would be dragging him from his feet if there were drag marks on his back. That would pull his pants up, unless I don't know. Thank you, Maury, for your $4.99 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I have so many questions still. Yeah. This is still a something that is very perplexing, as Chief said earlier. Interesting stuff. And this is another question, Black Cat. If it happened there, why would the dad dude need to go out to the truck to deal with it? I mean, I'm assuming he went over there to pick up his son at that location of where the vehicle was dropped off at. It probably would have been better, thinking about it afterwards, obviously, it would have been much more difficult for law enforcement to find these guys had he not done that. It's literally 3 blocks away. He could have just gone and parked and left the vehicle there and walked home. The way the dad was dressed tells me he had just woken up. Now, would he have woken up to the sound of gunfire? Yeah. But I don't know why he would have to go in and look inside the vehicle to make sure or to see what happened. If he was aware of what happened. Why would they meet up at the back of the apartment complex and not at the side where they dumped the vehicle off to begin with? There's a lot of questions there. I personally didn't think that it happened at his house, just solely because of the fact that, what do you call it? Dad's reaction when he gets there, the fact that they had to meet up in the back, and when he gets out, he's looking in the car and then wiping down the corner of it. I think there is more to the story. Definitely so. I think the dad and the son will be singing to get out of jail very soon. I think so too, but I don't think they're gonna. I think the dad might get something out of it. The son definitely isn't going to get out of jail anytime soon. Yeah, at best, maybe perhaps he spares his life, maybe gets parole in 40 years, something like that. But yeah, son ain't going to get off easy. Dad could, but yeah, they need to go run and hide if that's the case, that they're going to sing about somebody else. It's a dangerous game to be in. It's just gotten too big for my liking. I grew up here. My grandpa farmed the land in Cibola where HEB was built. It's sad. It really is. CSI would have tore the house up last night. That's what I would have thought. However, they really don't need to. They have enough for a conviction. They have enough to get justice. The question is, are they going to willing to do the extra mile to see if there was more to it, right? I don't know. It don't sound like it. It sounds like this is the sole person. That's what they said. These were the sole suspects. This is the only 2 people that they thought were involved. Even though we clearly see somebody in that truck handing something to the big guy. So that would lead us to believe there's at least 3 people there. Now, I'm assuming because that third person didn't get out of the car or the truck, maybe perhaps there's some sort of plausible deniability that, they technically maybe have not known what was going on. They just were in the truck, right? Complete BS, but, I guess somebody can say that. I think more involved. I do too. I think there are more involved. It just doesn't make any sense. This is true. He followed him to drop off the car, and they both entered different ways. That's exactly what I had said. Prior to me reading that affidavit, I had stated that this crime had occurred very close, but I thought it was not at the house. I didn't think that doesn't make any sense to me based on what I'm seeing on tape. I don't know. Think mom and dad are protecting? Yeah, probably. There's a crime scene somewhere, if not in the car. Now, the affidavit said that there was blood outside of the car, right? And that's what I had heard also, that there was blood outside of the car. That's what I had known, that there was blood outside of the car. What I had heard, or what I was told, was that Matthew's body was partially in the backseat, or mostly in the backseat, but his legs were still in the front seat. Or not in the front seat, but in between the seats, like, because he's tall, which made me believe that they had pulled him back there. I also heard a rumor or something that said that his shoes, and this isn't stuff that's out there, this is from some people that I know in law enforcement and stuff like that, that he had slides or some sandal type of shoes on, and that those were in the front seat. So, when I heard all those things, I was like, man, it sure does sound like something happened inside the car. But that's what I heard. I don't know. I hadn't seen anything. I hadn't seen anything personally. So, I just know some people in places. Why did Savanah go along on the drug deal? She knew this was dangerous for sure. Well, I think that there's a possibility there that she was also involved in some of the drug dealing. I don't think it was just a one-person thing. I think that from what the officer said, that this guy knew both of them. I didn't see the blood. On the outside of the car, I know that there was just a small amount, which is why I thought that maybe perhaps somebody had found him, because that initially, McManus had said that there was still the possibility this was a murder-suicide. Now that this is over, I'm thinking that maybe perhaps that was just to, make somebody feel comfortable. I don't understand how somebody would feel comfortable with knowing that there's no gun, phone, or no gun or keys in the car that were used. Right. So it does seem like somebody went through there. But, I'd heard that there was blood outside of the car. Not a lot, but like some. Which, when you have the drag marks, blood outside of the car, one could speculate that one of them at least passed outside of the car and then was dragged into the car. It's an unfortunate situation, but I'm going to still continue to cover this as much as I can. As more information comes forward, I'll probably go back out there and see if I see anything. It looks like somewhere where somebody would get drag marks at. I mean, that's the other thing, is like, was he on the pavement? Was he on the street? I don't think you get that much drag marks from being in the grass here. I don't know. Christopher could have been tasked with getting rid of the car, in my opinion, unless they have actual proof Christopher did it. But still, Dad and Christopher would be accessories after the fact. The fact that he called Dad tells me that Dad wasn't involved. I don't think, the way he was dressed too, not to that aspect, like in actual plotting or planning or the commission of those individuals that lost their lives. I do think that he was called or notified at early in the morning hours to help his son. And, those don't sound like something that happens after somebody has a hit on someone. Maybe it does. I don't know. I've never heard of it. Or a hitman calls his dad to help him afterwards. Right. Now, it could have been some sort of initiation, some sort of like first time thing that he had to do. And that would make sense as to why he's panicking and calling his dad. I don't know. Only time will tell. But that's going to do it for me today. We're going to be back tomorrow night unless something else breaks on other stuff. Last night we were talking about the Jeffrey Epstein Black Book that was released and the documents that were released on him. We're going to continue those tomorrow night. We're going to be talking more about who some of these names are. You know, there's a lot of people on that list that I have no idea who they are. Well, we're going to go in, we're going to Google search a lot of these individuals and find out who they are. You don't want to miss it. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I'm also going to be covering, like I said, we're also covering the Idaho murders as well, and also the Richard Allen case in Delphi. So if those cases are something that you followed in the past and haven't seen our shows, please, I recommend going back and watching some of our past stuff. We have dived deep into those cases. The Idaho case, we've had, I had interviews with Kaylee Goncalves, who is the mother of one of the victims, Kaylee Goncalves, who passed away in that house. So, you know, we've had some detailed information about some stuff that maybe other places you won't be able to find. So go check out our other content. I'd appreciate that. Share this with your friends and family that love true crime and conspiracies. We'd appreciate that. With that being said, I'm out of here, guys. We'll see you next time.